Hey guys, I'm the film fan. This past weekend, Infinite, the new Antoine Fuqua movie starring Mark Wahlberg and Dylan O'Brien, releases surprisingly, but not too surprisingly, on Paramount Plus, and I'm going to be reviewing it today. If you're new around here, I'm the film fan. I do movie reviews, rankings, trailer reactions, etc. If you like that sort of thing, I'd love if you could subscribe, like the video, and comment what you'd like to see me cover next. And that is if YouTube allows there to be a comment section. And so, without further ado, let's get talking. So, a troubled young man, haunted by memories of two past lives, stumbles upon the centuries-old secret society of similar individuals and dares to join their ranks. So, I loved the Magnificent Seven remake, and I heard tons of good things about this filmmaker. I knew this was a name in Hollywood known for making very enjoyable action films. I watched Olympus Has Fallen the other day, and it lived up to my expectations. I was somewhat excited for this movie, and was surprised to see it fly somewhat under the radar in terms of marketing and just be dropped on Paramount Plus. And I actually didn't even know there was a trailer until like a week after the trailer came out, and it was pretty close to its release. And to put all the factors, it was very easy to not realize this movie was coming out, which was pretty surprising. So, before I get into this review, what did you guys think about this one? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Are you somewhere in the middle? Without further ado, this is Infinite. And let's get talking about the good. And the best thing, I guess, I can say about this movie is that Antoine Fuqua is great at making action sequences that pop. He knows how to find interesting visuals and make very dynamic fights. You feel him doing the best he can throughout this film and going all out with these Matrix-style sequences, along with what is inherently a very Matrix-like story. And that's the other thing. This has a very interesting concept, and it's what makes this film a little more exciting. The premise of the character who has memories of his past lives that he was reincarnated from and finds this weird secret society of people like him and learns about what his past was and all that is a nice enough idea for a movie. Along with that, the visual effects are very good and the stunt work is pretty strong. So, put all this together, you have this really cool concept and some really good action scenes. And there are a lot of good actors in here, with Dylan O'Brien, which was just recently in Love and Monsters, my favorite movie of last year, and of course, Mark Wahlberg in the lead. You have a lot of really good ideas and picks for a crew to make this movie, but unfortunately, it does not live up to its potential, so let's move on to the bad. And the worst thing about this movie for me was just that the characters are so lifeless and dull, and it's tough to get invested in any of them or care about what happens to any of them. While the action is good, you don't really care about any of it because you don't feel any bit of the stakes, as nobody here is interesting and able to be latched onto. I think part of that is while these are all good actors, they probably read the script and went, okay, fine, at least it'll pay well. You can tell nobody is interested in their part, not even Mark Wahlberg. This creates a set of super bland characters that you have no interest in, and I'll do my best not to say any spoilers, but something big happens to one of the major characters in this movie, and you just go, okay, when it happens. It's played as this big, massive, dramatic moment, but you don't really feel any of it. Another thing is that the script, just in general, isn't that good. A large portion of this movie is pretty nonsensical, and it plays it all dead serious for the most part. And so it just comes off as too much. There were a couple of moments of humor, but for the most part, it didn't really acknowledge all the really stupid things it's doing. It played itself like this was legitimate, and that was pretty frustrating. And it's also very overwhelming at times when it gets to some of these scenes, especially in the finale. You start to just tune out a little bit because it just goes so bombastic, crazy, and you don't really care about any of it since you're not interested in the characters, so it's just a bunch of noise. And I also think the dialogue was quite bad. It all sounds like a computer wrote it. I guess, well, I don't know if that makes it bad, but it's really boring, the dialogue, as none of it sounds like things people would say. It just sounds like computers talking to each other. And one last thing, this movie tries to set up for a sequel, and it's quite embarrassing in how it tries to do that. So, put it all together, I wish I could have liked this movie a lot more, but I didn't. So, let's move on to the conclusion. And Infinite is an action spectacle from Antoine Fuqua, with so much potential in its premise and cast, but with a contrived and ridiculous screenplay, dull characters and performances, and very wooden dialogue. None of it pans out in the end, and while I can't say I hated it, as once again, the action is really solid and well done for the most part, I did not get invested in this movie as much at all, and it's a pretty big letdown. I'm going to give it a C and a 4 out of 10, and you can skip this one. It isn't really worth checking out unless you really, really want to see this movie for the concept. So, thank you guys for watching. If you're new around here, I'd love you to subscribe. Uh, if you like this video, I'd appreciate if you could give it a like or dislike it, I guess. Boost controversy. And comment what you'd like to see me cover next. If YouTube allows there to be a comment section. I'm watching you, YouTube. I am. And yeah, that's about it. Once again, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Bye!